My dad looked at me across the table and asked, "Why didn't you just drive yourself? You were 2 hours late." Everyone went quiet. Forks stopped moving, all eyes on me. I took a breath and said it out loud for the first time, because Carol took my car keys 3 weeks ago. She said I didn't deserve to drive alone until I learned to be a better wife. The silence that followed was deafening. Derek stared down at his plate like it was the most fascinating thing he'd ever seen. Carol's face went red. My dad's expression shifted from confused to horrified in about 2 seconds, and that's when I realized something that made my stomach drop. They all knew. My name is Hannah. I'm 28 years old, and up until 3 months ago, I thought I had a normal marriage. I work as a freelance graphic designer. I set my own hours, work from home, choose my own clients. It's not glamorous, but it's mine. I built it from nothing. 2 years ago, I married Derek. He seemed perfect, kind, thoughtful, successful. His family was close-knit, and I thought that was beautiful. I grew up with parents who loved each other, who supported me, and I wanted that for my own life. But close-knit turned out to mean something very different in Derek's family. It meant controlled by his mother, Carol. Carol was a retired school principal. She spent 30 years bossing people around, and she never really stopped. She was used to being obeyed, used to being in charge. And when Derek brought me into the family, she saw me as just another student who needed discipline. At first, it was small things, suggestions about what I should wear to family dinners, comments about how I cooked, little digs about our home decor. Then it escalated. Carol had a spare key to our house. Derek gave it to her without asking me. She'd let herself in whenever she wanted. I'd be working at my desk, and suddenly she'd be standing in my kitchen, rearranging my cabinets or criticizing the dishes in my sink. I tried talking to Derek about it. Every time, he'd say the same thing. "That's just how mom is." Like that was supposed to make it okay. Derek's family had money, a big house on the nice side of town, social standing. After we got married, we moved to his childhood neighborhood. It was beautiful, quiet, far from my parents, far from my friends. I didn't realize I was being isolated until it was already done. I wasn't the confrontational type. I didn't pick fights. I just wanted a respectful, equal marriage. But I had something they didn't expect. A backbone that was just waiting for the right moment. Has your family or your in-laws ever treated you like this? Share your story below. It all came to a head 3 weeks before my dad's birthday dinner. Derek and I had a small argument. Nothing major. I just told him I wanted to visit my parents that weekend. I hadn't seen them in 2 months. He got defensive, said I was always running back to them instead of spending time with his family. I pointed out that we saw his family every single week. He didn't like that. And then he did what he always did when we argued. He called his mom. The next morning, I was in the kitchen working on a logo design for a client. Coffee going cold beside me, deadline looming. I was in the zone. Then I heard the front door open. I looked up. Carol walked in like she owned the place. "We need to talk about your attitude," she said. No hello, no knock. Just walked right in. I blinked at her. "What?" "I just wanted to see my parents." "Exactly." She set her purse down on my counter. "You're always running back to them instead of building your life here, with us." My hands were shaking. I kept my voice calm. "Carol, I haven't seen them in 2 months." She ignored me. Started listing complaints like she was reading from a checklist. The house wasn't clean enough. I worked too much. I didn't cook real meals. I was distant, ungrateful, selfish. I stood up. "Carol, I think you should leave." Her face went hard. "I'm trying to help you, but clearly you're too stubborn to listen." She turned toward the door. I thought it was over. Then she stopped, reached out, and picked up my car keys from the counter. "Wait," I said. "Those are mine." She held them in her fist, looked me dead in the eye. "I'm keeping these for now, until you can prove you're responsible enough to manage your own life." I felt my chest tighten. "You can't just take my keys. I'm doing this for your own good." Her voice was cold, final. And Derek agrees. Then she walked out. I stood there, frozen. Then I grabbed my phone and texted Derek, "Your mom just took my car keys. Tell her to bring them back." He didn't answer. 3 hours later, I got a text. "Just give her some space. She's trying to help. Use my car if you need something." That's when it hit me. He wasn't going to defend me. I was stuck. We lived in a car-dependent suburb. No public transit, no sidewalks. Everything spread out over miles of winding roads. All my client meetings were virtual, so I didn't technically need to go anywhere, but I was a prisoner in my own home. For 3 weeks, I didn't drive, didn't leave except when Derek took me somewhere. And the worst part? Carol told the extended family that I chose to stay home because I was going through something, like I was fragile, broken, unstable. Week 1, Carol organized a family brunch at some upscale restaurant across town. Derek told me about it the night before. "We're doing brunch tomorrow, 10 a.m. I looked at him. "How am I supposed to get there without my car?" He shrugged. "I'll come back and pick you up." Morning came. Derek left early, said he had to help set up. I got dressed, did my makeup, waited by the door. 10 o'clock came and went. I called him. No answer. 10:30, still nothing. Finally, at 11, my phone buzzed. "Mom said you probably didn't want to come anyway. We're already eating." Then a photo came through. The whole family, smiling around a big table. Mimosas, pastries, laughter, one empty chair. I sat on the couch in my empty house, staring at that photo, and I felt invisible. A week later, Derek finally agreed to take me grocery shopping. I had to ask, like a child asking permission. We were in the cereal aisle when I heard her voice. "Oh, Hannah, so glad Derek brought you out." I turned. Carol, and Derek's Aunt Lisa. Carol's voice was loud, loud enough that other shoppers looked over. "You've been so hermit-like lately." Aunt Lisa laughed. "Some women just aren't built for independence." Carol nodded, solemn and concerned. "That's why I've been teaching her structure. She's scattered, can't even manage a simple schedule." Heat rushed to my face. "Because you took my car keys, Carol." She waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, that. Honey, that was for your own benefit. You were stressed, driving recklessly." "I was never driving recklessly." Derek stepped closer, put his hand on my arm. "You were pretty anxious, babe." I stared at him. He was gaslighting me, in public, in front of his family. I pulled away and walked to another aisle, blinking back tears. Derek followed, annoyed. "Why do you always make things awkward?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. The third betrayal came out of nowhere. Carol called me on a Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was sweet, too sweet. "Hannah, sweetie, I told the church you'd design their fundraiser posters for free. You're so talented." I closed my laptop. "I charge for design work, Carol. That's my income." "Don't be greedy." Her tone shifted, sharp now. "It's for charity. Besides, you have plenty of free time now." The implication stung. "Since you're stuck at home anyway." "I'm not doing it," I said. She hung up. 2 hours later, the family group chat exploded. "Can't believe Hannah refused to help the church. So selfish. I thought she was a Christian. Derek, you need to talk to your wife." I watched the messages pile up. No one asked my side. No one defended me. Derek came home that night, frustrated. "It would have taken you like an hour. Why do you have to make everything so difficult?" I didn't argue. I just stopped talking, and I started documenting. I took screenshots of every text, every group chat message. I wrote down dates and times Carol let herself in. I saved the photo of the empty chair at brunch, and I called my dad. I told him everything. He was horrified. "I had no idea, sweetheart. I thought Derek was a good man." "I didn't want to worry you," I said. "You're coming to my birthday dinner," he said. His voice was firm. "Final. And I'm picking you up." That phone call changed everything, because what Carol didn't know was that I wasn't just sitting at home feeling sorry for myself. I was researching coercive control, emotional abuse, legal rights, and here's what I found out. My car was in my name, title, registration, insurance. I made the payments. Taking someone's property and refusing to return it, that's theft. I also had money, a private savings account from before the marriage. Derek didn't even know it existed. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to rent my own place if it came to that. I reached out to my cousin's husband. He's a lawyer. Someone outside Derek's social circle. He confirmed everything. I could report the car as stolen. I could file for separation. I could protect my assets. He sent me documents, separation paperwork, restraining order templates. I also started recording conversations. In my state, one-party consent is legal. I captured Carol letting herself in, criticizing me, calling me a terrible wife. I captured Derek dismissing my feelings, choosing his mother over me, over and over. And I ordered a spare car key from the dealership using my key code. Had it shipped to my parents' house. I was building a case, piece by piece. And they had no idea the quiet, controlled wife was about to take all the control back. A week before my dad's birthday dinner, he called me. "Sweetheart, I feel like I haven't really seen you in forever. Is everything okay?" I broke. I told him everything. The keys, the isolation, the humiliation. He was quiet for a long moment. Then his voice came back, tight with anger. "I thought Derek was a good man. This isn't okay. I didn't want to worry you. You're coming to my birthday dinner, and I'm picking you up." My mom got on the phone. She was furious she didn't know sooner. They offered me a place to stay whenever I was ready. I wasn't ready to leave yet, but for the first time in months, I felt supported. Meanwhile, Carol was getting bolder. I overheard her on speakerphone one afternoon, talking to her sister. "I give it 6 months. She'll either shape up or ship out. Derek can do better." They were so sure they'd broken me. My cousin-in-law emailed me the documents. My dad secretly brought me the spare car key. I got a quote from a locksmith to change the house locks. I was ready. The night before the dinner, Derek came into the bedroom. "Mom doesn't think you should come tomorrow. She thinks you'll make it weird." I looked up from my book. "I'm going. My dad invited me." "Why can't you just try to get along with her?" I closed the book. "Why can't you act like my husband instead of her son?" His face flushed. "If you can't respect my family, maybe we have bigger problems. Maybe we do." I didn't sleep that night, but I was ready. My dad picked me up the next afternoon. I kept the spare car key hidden in my purse, just in case. The dinner was at my parents' house. Extended family was there. Cousins, aunts, uncles, and Derek, and Carol. Everyone was eating appetizers, chatting, laughing. It felt normal, warm. Then my dad looked at me and asked the question, "Hannah, why didn't you just drive yourself? You were 2 hours late." He knew. He was giving me the floor. I set down my glass, looked around the table. "Because Carol took my car keys 3 weeks ago. She said I didn't deserve to drive alone until I learned to be a better wife." Silence. Derek stared at his plate. Carol forced a nervous laugh. "Oh, Hannah, you're so dramatic. I was holding them because you were stressed." "You told me I was irresponsible," I said, my voice steady, "that I had to prove myself." "I was trying to help." "By stealing my property?" I looked right at her. "By letting yourself into my house whenever you want? By telling everyone I'm difficult when all I want is basic boundaries?" Derek shifted uncomfortably. "Hannah, don't do this here." My dad's voice cut through like steel. "Let her talk." I pulled out my phone, pressed play on a recording. Carol's voice filled the room. "You're a terrible wife. Derek deserves someone who actually listens. Maybe if you stayed home instead of pretending to work, you'd learn something." Gasps around the table. Carol's face went bright red. "You recorded me?" "In my own home," I said, which you enter without permission. I have a key, which I never gave you. Derek did, without asking me. I turned to Derek. Do you have anything to say? He stammered. She's my mom. I thought. You thought what? That I'd just disappear? That I'd let myself be erased? I pulled out printed documents from my bag, laid them on the table. Car title, bank statements, locksmith receipt. My car is in my name. I have a new key. The locks are being changed tomorrow, and I've signed a lease on my own apartment. Carol's voice went shrill. You can't just leave. Watch me. Derek finally seemed to realize what was happening. Wait, Hannah, let's talk. I tried talking. For 2 years. You chose her every single time. My mom squeezed my hand under the table. Carol tried to recover. This is insane. You're overreacting. My dad's voice was like iron. She's doing exactly what she should have done months ago. And if I hear you've contacted her again, we're talking to the police about harassment. Carol stood. Derek stood with her. They left without another word. The family sat in stunned silence. Finally, one of my aunts spoke, her voice soft. I had no idea. I'm so sorry, Hannah. I looked at her. That's what she counted on. 2 months later, I'm living in a small, bright apartment across town, close to my parents, close to my old friends. The divorce papers are filed. Derek didn't contest. Carol tried texting me once. I blocked her immediately. Derek sent a long apology email. I deleted it without reading the whole thing. I didn't need his apology. I needed my freedom. My design business is thriving. Bigger clients, passion projects, creative control. I reconnected with old friends, joined a book club, started hiking on weekends. One evening, I'm driving my car, windows down, music loud, and I realize something. I haven't felt this light in years. I pull into my parents' driveway for our weekly dinner. Dad meets me at the door. Hey, sweetheart. Good drive? I smile. The best. For so long, I thought love meant sacrifice. That being a good wife meant making myself smaller to fit someone else's expectations. But I was wrong. Love isn't supposed to shrink you. It's supposed to help you grow. And for once, their silence didn't hurt me. It freed me. I finally understood I never needed their approval. I just needed my own. If this story felt familiar, you're not alone. So many of us have dealt with people, family, in-laws, partners, who think control is the same as care. But it's not. You deserve respect. You deserve freedom. And you deserve people who actually see your worth. If you've ever had to stand up to family betrayal or manipulation, hit subscribe and tell me your story in the comments. Where are you watching from? Drop your location below. I read every single one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Your story matters. And I'm here to listen. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.